Okay. 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 Welcome everyone to this Semi-Town Council Planning Committee meeting on the 11th of October. So item 1 is apologies for absence received.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, so Councillor Morehouse, a travel commitment. Nikki Warden sends her apologies. Councillor Pennington, we know, is convalescing, and Councillor Friend from Dover District Council as well sends his apologies.
Thank you. Item 2, declaration of interest. Is to receive any declaration of disclosable pecuniary interest from members in respect of business to be transacted on this agenda.
It's not to do with this, but it is to do with the meeting. If I can raise this now. I've just met a member of the public who can't access this room because the jury room is in use, and so we're breaking the law effectively.
I've just spoken to the assistant caretaker. We're going to facilitate so the resident can come through.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it is an issue that's been raised in the past about the use of this room when the jury room is in use.
Yeah.
There's no lift.
Yeah. No. But it's what we did have that disabled toilet for there, but it just has to be arranged with the hire of the jury room. Okay, thank you, that's all right. Item 3, minutes of the Planning Committee. To approve the minutes of the Planning Committee held on the 13th of September 2023 and to consider any matters arising from those minutes not covered elsewhere on this agenda. Attachment 1.
Okay. The record of the things I raised last time, the first thing says there was a response awaited from the chair. Actually what I said was I never received a response and I didn't think this was acceptable, and I would like that minuted.
Okay.
Second thing was that it says it was not clear if the points raised by the volunteer tree warden had been considered. Actually, I said that they hadn't been considered and they should have been. And the third point, I owe the chair and the committee an apology because I said that I believe there had been predetermination, and the clerk clarified things with me and actually there wasn't, so my apologies for that.
I'd like to move that the minutes are an accurate record, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, was a seconder?
Subject to the amendments.
Indeed. Do we have a seconder then? All in favour that the minutes be approved then? Okay, thank you. Item 4. Public participation. A 20-minute session is set aside for a member of the public to make representations at the meeting in respect of the business on the agenda. Individual representation should not exceed 5 minutes. Written notice of the desire to exercise the right to speak, together with the topic to be addressed, must be given to the town clerk by noon prior to the day of the meeting.
No.
Okay. Item 5. Planning applications. Application plans and papers can be viewed by the Dover District Council website. Planning application reference number 23/01091, proposal removal of paint from brickwork to front and side elevation, location Short House, 54 High Street, Sandwich, CT13 9EQ.
Yeah, I'd like to say, obviously this is a very good proposal to go forward with. Several properties are doing this now. It's about our second or third property in that area that's actually said they're going to do that. I've actually been to look at the property because they have actually made some samples to show what it's going to go back to, and the work looks very sound on the property. So, and obviously to take it back to an original state, which I believe there was a supporter had put a comment on this application to say the same thing, that they support this going back to what it was before. So I'll be very happy to propose this application is carried forward.
Yeah, I'd support that. I think I wanted to ask John Hennessy whether this is a trend in the conservation area. We've seen quite a few of these applications for removal of paintwork.
Several owners seem to have started doing this. And, it's going back to how it was, I guess. We could progress further, of course, and go back to sticks and mud. We get that far.
Yeah, I think it's now the brickwork to breathe in it, because at the moment it's all a waterproof paint, isn't it? So if it does get damp inside, it can't dry out, can it?
It's nice they bought the house and they'll be after it, aren't they?
I believe this is the house that Peter Jerome used to live in. We'd like to see a blue plaque on there in due course.
Okay, so we've got motion and second. We're all in favour of this? Okay. I think that's
Thank
fine.
you.
Item number 2, planning application, reference number 23/01126, proposal extension to outbuilding to create an annex for ancillary residential accommodation. Location Datchet, St George's Lee, Sandwich, Kent, CT 13 9JS. Councillor Clark.
Oh yeah, I noticed that there was a complaint, somebody objecting against this, but they were saying that the building was going to be very close to their building. When you went onto the site location plans, it actually showed it was quite some distance, so there was plenty of distance. Both the properties got very large gardens, so there's no concern about there being any distance or blocking of light or anything like that. Also from the aerial photography, it actually shows very high hedges and trees between the two properties, so there'd be no overlooking or anything like that. That was shielded, which was mentioned. So I'm very happy to propose that this is recommended. It's also stated that it is for elderly parents to be cared for, and that there will be no cooking or washing in the actual annex itself. It's literally going to be just living accommodation, so I can't see that we've got any reason to refuse it, really.
Councillor Last?
Yeah, I agree partially with that. I think the new building is significantly higher than the existing block, which is an office, in use as an office at the moment. So there will be some visual impact on the next door property, but it is some distance away. I mean, having said that, I think there is some attempt to gain sympathy for this by saying it's for elderly people or family relatives. Of course, we've got no way of guaranteeing that that use will continue into the future. It's a self-contained unit which could become an Airbnb or a separately let property as cooking facilities. So I think we have to ignore that aspect of it and just look at it on the basis of the development itself.
So do you second it?
Yeah. Unless anyone else has objections to it, I think it's...
No, so, we'll vote on that then, for the recommendation that this is approved.
I was just going to say something, Chair, if I could, just on the points that Councillor Wiles said. They're not increasing the parking at all. There'd be no additional parking. So if they let this out as an Airbnb, if you know the property, because you have to walk through from the train station to there, there's literally one parking space there. So if they started letting it as an Airbnb, the people would have to park in the road or up the road or something like that. So I can't really see, and it is in the garden, so it's very
quite large property.
I tried to canvass it, but you can't get it.
You can't, no, you can't.
I think it's laid on our own at the moment. I think we're all in favour of this proposal. I think we are. We'll vote on it. Planning application reference number 23/01126, proposal extension to outbuilding to create an annex. Oh no, sorry, I've got the wrong one. Jumped up. Planning application 23/00968, proposed installation of 1,000 cubic metre water tank with ancillary equipment. Location Kent Renewable Energy Waterflow Discovery Park, Sandwich. I think this is most probably for a sprinkler system. We have to do this at the rubber works. You have to have a massive great reservoir so the sprinklers can work, otherwise you can't cross the mains, there's not enough water pressure. It's the power station, isn't it? Sort of
That's it. From the diagrams and drawings, it's at the back, isn't it, where the wharf is? So it's although it's, I think it was 11 metres high, 11.4 metres high and 9 metres wide, which is quite large. It is at the back of the site, and you won't actually be able to see it from the properties at the front of the site unless you particularly trying to look for it.
It's
So,
industrial, so, isn't
and
it?
it's industrial area, so
Yeah.
I propose acceptance
Yeah.
dependent on.
There wasn't an actual application form with this on the portal for this, so it's hard to see exactly what they're applying for. But to be honest, that site has been very criticised for being greenwash energy. You see the lorries coming from all over. I was in Bristol today, and all down the M4 there's the lorries, Jenkinson lorries, bringing the logs down this way. And it's such an eyesore anyway that this won't make much more of an impact anyway.
No.
So I don't see why we can't support it.
Yeah. Any other comments? No?
I just vote in favour.
Yeah. Because you're proposing it, Councillor.
I am, yeah.
You second it, Councillor Orson?
No.
Well, I'll second it. Second that, isn't it? Yeah. Those in favour of this big. Thank you. Item 6. Okay, planning decisions.
Okay, yes. So we've got obviously the list and to note the latest decisions taken by Dover District Council on new planning applications. The first one is Thrums 21 King Street. That was a discharge of condition 3, sample of Kent peg tile pursuant to application 23//0071701, repaint external joinery, replace pan tiles and tiles to match the existing roof. The second one is the Bell Hotel on Upper Strand Street. Erection of partitions, blocking of existing openings and creation of new openings to form staff facilities. The next one is the Schoolhouse Nursery School Road. Prior approval for the change of use from nursery to residential dwelling. Drive-through restaurant lined west of Montague Road, Discovery Park. I won't read all that description. Yeah. It's a non-material minor amendment to 23//00597. 7 Bowling Street, installation of new rainwater goods to northeast elevation. The White Mills Wake and Aqua Park on Ash Road, and this is discharge of condition 21, event management plan pursuant to application 20//01447. Again, I won't read all that description for you. 15 Church Street, St Mary's. That's formation of rear vehicular access, parking, rear wall gates, insertion of 2 roof lights, replacement windows, door and roof covering. 15 Church Street, St Mary. Internal works including ground floor, alterations to living room, fireplace including replacement, Brasima beam, removal of wainscot panels and removal of kitchen fireplace insert. There is some first floor information there as well. I won't read all that for you, you've seen that. 20 New Street, repoint front elevation including brickwork repairs and removal of paint finishes to expose brickwork. 33 St George's Road, erection of 2-storey side and rear extensions, alterations to fenestration, demolition of part front boundary wall to create secondary vehicular access with associated parking. And lastly, 45 Whitefriars Meadow, insertion of first floor window to side elevation and partial garage conversion.
I'll propose that we note the decisions made.
Councillor Wong?
Could we be reminded of the acronyms, what they stand for? AAPR for schoolhouse, nursery home.
I was just about to say the same thing. If the codes could be sent to the committee, because they have been set out for I think over a year now. So if
They
have.
have.
they,
Yeah, I sent them to all members. Yeah, so you
Right.
have had them.
right,
I'm happy to send them again if you want them.
yeah, please, because I'll dig through my email chain.
So these proposals that have just been read out,
They're not proposals,
But
they're decisions that
Decisions.
the district council has already taken, and
Right.
it's down to us to note them.
Yeah.
So that's basically,
The last column is the
Yeah.
decision.
so there's no comment that we can
no, I mean, you could personally appeal against, once Dover District Council has made a planning decision, you as a personal resident of Sandwich can then put an appeal in against it if you wanted to, or this council could if they wanted to, if they felt so aggrieved. but otherwise it's just a case of noting them. So
I think if there was a case where we have strongly supported or strongly objected and the decision by DDC is the opposite, I think this committee is quite entitled to write saying we're disappointed with the decision.
we have done that in the
We have
past.
done that.
Okay.
Okay. We took note of the report.
Yes.
Okay. Item 7, street furniture applications. Do we have any?
No,
No.
none, Chair.
Item 8, licences. To consider any licences noticed and issues received from Dover District Council. No.
None.
Item 9, enforcement. To consider any enforcement notices and issues received from Dover District Council. Any enforcement? No. 10, correspondence.
Yes, thank you. So, oops, there it is. Yes, correspondence. Okay, so this is to receive and consider correspondence relating to planning matters, including notification of appeals against refusal of planning applications. So there were has-made documents provided by Kent County Council, and this is for traffic regulation orders. The first one was Amendment 4A, that's a speed limit order on Woodensborough Road. Kent County Council shared notice of the order, which would be to implement the speed limit from 40 miles an hour to 30 miles per hour speed limit on Woodensborough Road from a point in line with the western boundary of 50 Polders Gardens in an easterly direction to the existing 30 mile per hour speed limit. The next has-made document is for Amendment 105, waiting restrictions and street parking places on Birch Avenue, St Bart's Road and Woodensborough Road. For Birch Avenue, this is double yellow lines on both sides of the junction with St Bart's Road for a distance of 12.5 metres in a northerly direction. St Bart's Road, double yellow lines on the southwest side, 7 metres from junction with Woodensborough Road for a distance of 6 metres in a south-easterly direction. On the southwest side from northern boundary of 48 St Bart's Road for a distance of 17 metres in a south-easterly direction. On the southwest side, 4 metres from the northwest boundary of 60 Bart's Road for a distance of 9 metres in a south-easterly direction. On the south side, 12 metres west and 5 metres east on either side of the school keep clears. On the north side, on both sides of the junction with Birch Avenue, for 54 metres in a westerly direction and 20 metres in an easterly direction. On the south side, on both sides of junction with Hazelwood Meadow for 18 metres in a westerly direction and 27 metres in an easterly direction opposite 73/77 St Bart's Road. On the south side, opposite and in line with the western boundary of 115 St Bart's Road for a distance of 10 metres in an easterly direction. On the north side, 64 metres west from the junction with Fallbridge Place for a distance of 12 metres in a westerly direction. Woodensborough Road, double yellow lines on both sides from the junction with Polders Gardens to the junction with Polders Road. So this information is to be noted and for you as members to be aware that anyone made by application to the High Court within 6 weeks of the date of publication of the notice challenge the validity of the orders or of any provision contained in them on the grounds that it is not within the powers conferred by the Road Traffic Regulation Act 1984.
Oh yes, thank you, Mr Chairman. This is something which, as it says in that very last paragraph here, we've only got the power to note this, and unfortunately the only way to bring any justice, as it were, for this is to take it to the High Court, which I don't think anybody's got the financial resources to do. But I just wanted to point out that a group of residents came to our planning meeting to discuss this, came to the Sandwich Town Council meeting to discuss this, and personally emailed myself to say how unhappy they are with these arrangements that were made with the developer. In particular, the parking arrangements in Woodensborough Road have now left one side of Woodensborough Road completely clear, where you had parked cars which were slowing vehicles coming into the town down, and the residents said that it will just create a rat run, which it has done. And then of course in St Bart's Road and Birch Avenue, apart from the junctions, the implication of the other double yellow lines has caused people to not be able to park outside their own properties, or to have to park further up the road away from their properties. So it's not really helped the residents at all. It's not been popular, and if anything, it's caused inconvenience. And in Woodensborough Road, it's increased the speed of the traffic. So I don't know if you know, there's a lot of illegal parking now on the opposite side of the road because of where they've put the double yellow lines, which has caused problems with the residents there. So the whole scheme was put forward by the developers. It was agreed by Dover District Council, and then it was altered and then represented, which was totally inaccurate and wrong thing to do. And there was no consultation with the alterations that were made by KCC. But I'm just making that clear for the public record. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I think that's why they've moved the 30-mile-an-hour limit further up Polders, haven't they? They've increased quite a distance so when you come in from Woodensborough now, there's quite a distance. And actually, personally, I think it's safer because they used to park on that bend. And the times I come down and I go across the other side of the road to get around the bend, and they can't park now because the yellow lines.
Yeah, so they've taken all the cars away, so you've got a straight line now.
Yeah.
So this car's doing, I was only over there 2 days ago, they're doing 50 or 60 miles an hour.
Yeah,
There's no enforcement on the
No.
30 mile. They could put the 30 limit in Woodensborough, but if you haven't got anybody to
Well, it's
enforce it,
enforcement, that's a problem, isn't it?
that's
But personally, I think it's safer.
I've raised it with Dover District or something.
Councillor,
Yeah, what disappoints me is the double yellow lines where they're needed the most is between 123 St Bart's Road and the junction with Dover Road.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because that is strategically important. It's a bus route, it's access for co-op, and it's also school, part of the school run. I have been told that there was an incident a couple of years ago with a caravan being delivered to Sandwich Leisure Park, which is one of the most important businesses in the town, because without it we would lose a lot of what little footfall we do have. And the road was blocked for about 6 hours, I believe.
Yeah, long time.
So it's disappointing that that has not been included.
Exactly.
One of the problems with that was that the caravan site does go down and leaflet all the cars that are parked there, and the trouble is we've got
They shouldn't have
big,
to.
no, but it's people parking for the train, isn't it? Commuters.
Yes.
And that's what it is.
This is the knock-on effect of all the parking charges.
Yeah, and they're parking there. They're gone all day. That's what happens. That's what it's all that time.
People park there, they catch the train.
Not in London.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yes, and I completely agree with Councillor Carter what you're saying. Those W lines that we saw the disagreement that the residents had when they came here. It was quite a argumentative meeting, as it were, with some of the residents, and they were quite concerned. Regardless if they make that 30 mile an hour, no one's going to pay any attention to that 30 mile an hour speed limit. They fly down there. As soon as they come around that corner, when it hits 30, that's when they slam their brakes on the slow down. They're not going to now that they've got those W lines clearing. They're basically clearing the way for them to do that. So I do agree with that. I also agree with Councillor Morehouse that with the St Bart's Road, there was also Deal Dover Road on the corner of the Lars Bend. That's a resident complains about that quite regularly regarding how, because there's been a few incidences down there, down on that road as well. I do know that the HIT report was discussed with the Townscape Heritage Committee on Monday, that things will be going to be added to it, and we looked into it further. And it's also part of the commitment that the Townscape Heritage have made regarding speeding and parking in the town. But that's other things to do with that. But yeah, I do agree with what Councillor Clark is saying.
Oh, yeah, it's just to note that I've raised this also with regard to the 40 mile per hour limit between Woodensborough and Sandwich at the Woodensborough Parish Council meeting, that the next time we discuss it, that ought to be raised. And I'd just like to note that in this meeting. Also, with regard to the positioning of the 30 and 40, up until, well, I drove past it again today, the 30 and the 40 are disjointed in where they're noted, where the signposts are. So you're in 31 way, 40 the other, but we seem to be expanding the 40 mile per hour limit rather than reducing it, which I think we should be reducing so that there is more of a 30 than a 40. And I appreciate all I'm doing is noting this, but I think it needs to be noted.
Yeah, I must give me age away, but Sandwich was safer when we had a two-way traffic because no one could go fast, you didn't know what's going around the corner. And as soon as they put the one-way traffic system in, it speeded up.
Yeah.
And we tried chicane parking and all the rest of it, but it's, wherever you do away with parking, and unfortunately people speed.
Yes, I mean, if I can note that the changes seem to have been made and approved by people that don't live in Sandwich.
Exactly that. I do feel that there's with these amendments to the double lines, there has been no consultation from KCC regarding the residents whatsoever.
No.
I know those residents down at Winsborough Road Public Gardens have been requesting consultation with KCC, and they've just not listened to a word the residents are saying.
No.
As regards the enforcement of the speed limit, there could be the installation of one of those screens which records the speed of the vehicle, such as they have in Little Hall.
Yeah. Yeah. Speed indicator device.
Yes.
Yeah, I've just been in Cornwall in St Ives, which is in some ways is a town similar to Sandwich. It has very narrow streets, but they've been removing double yellow lines in many residential streets and creating parking, 3-4 resident parking plots at a time, and then double yellow lines. So it allows passing points, but it slows the traffic down quite significantly. And it provides more parking, which is something the town does need.
Yeah.
So that's one solution that we could maybe advocate through the next survey.
So it's just to know.
Propose that we know.
Just second it to know. All in favour? We note the report. Yeah. Item 11, verbal update by Dover District Council on matters relating to planning.
I did a call-in request on the fencing proposal for former Wayfarers.
Yeah.
I haven't had the responses yet.
Thank you.
And there was also another planning application in St George's Road that I'm dealing with as well.
Alright. Item 12, date of next planning committee meeting, 8th of November 2023. Thank you for coming. Thank you for your. Yeah.